Hey guys, we are officially 1 week into December, which means it is crunch time for holiday gifts. And even though I am primarily a painter, I like to say I'm a multimedia artist because it gives me the excuse to indulge in whatever hobbies I get hyperfixated on at any given time. Right now, the biggest thing that I've been focused on is crocheting, and I'm using that to catapult me into crocheting Christmas gifts for everybody in my life. I wanted to share with you guys the ultimate project that I am doing for literally everyone this Christmas. It is super duper straightforward, super duper easy, and it only takes 1 day. Let me show you some of these scarves that I've already completed. All of these took me 8 hours or less. Then we can get into how to make them and how to pick the colors for this specific type of scarf. So these are the 3 that I have done already. They're pretty chunky scarves and they definitely use quite a bit of yarn, but because of that, they feel super well made. They're heavy, and I make mine pretty long so that they can wrap around a couple of times if you wanted them to. They're just like the perfect little size scarf, and I love all of the different colorways that we can do with this. All you're going to need is anywhere between a 5mm hook to a 6.5mm hook and 2 different skeins of worsted weight yarn. You'll probably end up needing about 150 grams of each, give or take, but I would get more if you want a thicker scarf, and you don't need to buy nearly as big of skeins if you wanted more of a thinner accent scarf. With your 5 to 6.5mm crochet hook, you want to chain a chain that is preferably a little bit longer than your wingspan. And keep in mind the height of the person that you're giving this to. If they're significantly taller than you, you'll want to make it even longer. If they're shorter than you, a little bit shorter, etc. Then you are going to back loop only single crochet until the scarf is as wide as you want it to be. That's literally it. The catch with this pattern is that every single stitch is going to be made using 2 strands of yarn at the same time. You're essentially going to be pulling from 2 separate skeins, but pretending that it's just one, if that makes sense. That's what gives us the ability to have this really interesting colorway. You could just do this with 2 solid skeins, but that wouldn't really be considered the Daphne scarf. What's going to make this more signature is that we are going to choose 1 solid color and 1 multicolor. It can be a multicolor yarn like this, where it's essentially a monochromatic, or it could be multicolor in that there's literally every color of the rainbow. Once you have your multicolor skein picked out, you then want to complement it with its unifying color. As I said before, I'm originally a painter, and something I'm super passionate about teaching is this trick called unifying your paint palette. It's essentially where you mix a little bit of the same color into every single color on your palette so that it brings them all closer together and makes them feel more cohesive. We can take that same trick and use it in crochet with this scarf. The formula for finding your unifying color or your solid color skein is going to be choosing the color out of the multicolor skein that you chose that you prefer the most, and then slightly darkening it or slightly lightening it. For example, if I chose this multicolor skein for someone, but I know that their favorite color is probably this dark blue, I would choose for my solid color skein to be this one. It might be hard to see on camera. This blue that I chose is just slightly darker than this one that's actually in the multicolor. It's important that we do this because otherwise we won't actually notice any sort of color vibration happening during those moments where those 2 colors line up in our final piece. Color vibration is the phenomena that happens in our eyes when we're looking at 2 colors and how they interact with each other. Colors that have a lower vibration with each other are generally colors that are very, very similar. For example, in this scarf, you'll notice that the areas with the lower vibration are going to be the ones like right here, where our solid color or our unifying color is very similar to the one that's showing up in the multicolor palette. Whereas areas that have a higher vibration are going to be ones where the colors are more different and further apart from each other. In this case, this scarf has a pretty unified value, meaning that there's not a super high contrast in lightness versus darkness. It more leans into contrast with the actual hue itself. A more monochromatic scarf like this really leans into lightness versus darkness to get that different color vibration. As you can see, that vibration is super duper high on the areas where the multicolor skein got very light, and a lot lower in areas where the multicolor skein is almost as dark as our unifying color was. There are also moments that are kind of in between where you might have a skein that works with both value and different hues. For example, this is not all green. The skein went into a light blue color and even more of a limey yellowy color here, but it also is working with lightness versus darkness. So you have a lot of options as far as how these scarves can turn out with your final piece. There are so many possibilities for how you can make these scarves, and I'm super excited to see how you guys try it out. I'm very, very new to the crochet community, so I would love to hear any suggestions that more experienced crocheters might have in the comments as far as ways that I could improve this technique or add to it. You're more than welcome to tag me if you post it anywhere, or send it to me if you simply want to share your results trying out this technique. I can't wait to see all of your Daphne scarves, and happy holidays!